Being blood-related brothers, the king couldn't bring himself to take Jing Muyin's life. In the end, the king ordered Jing Muyin to be taken back to his room under heavy guard. On the way, they encountered Elder Lu, who had always loved Jing Muyin like a son. Elder Lu intervened and took Jing Muyin back to the elder's court, where a trial was held. After the trial, Jing Muyin was returned to his room, but his anger and resentment only grew. Jing Muyin was furious and decided to expose the king's true identity on the day of the wedding. He summoned his personal bodyguard, Dong Gong, who used his special ability to dig a secret tunnel. Jing Muyin followed the tunnel and found Ma Yingxiang, urging him to disrupt the wedding. On the wedding day, Ma Yingxiang arrived with Jing Muyin, holding a knife to his neck, and warned the princess not to marry the king. Confused, the princess frowned. Jing Muyin acted distressed, pleading with the king to save him. Hu Dai and others gathered, seemingly indifferent to Jing Muyin's fate. Jing Muyin suddenly snatched Ma Yingxiang's sword and lunged towards the high platform. The sword passed through the king's mask, embedding itself into the surface. As the mask was removed, everyone realized the person in wedding attire was the king's personal bodyguard. After the commotion subsided, the king approached and continued the wedding ceremony. After the wedding, the king sat beside the princess, sharing stories of his past. He and Jing Muyin, his blood-related brother, had grown up together, playing and laughing. However, after he ascended to the throne, Jing Muyin's opposition turned to rebellion, and he was imprisoned for 5 years. The king hoped for reform, but Jing Muyin's resentment only deepened. The princess pieced together the reason behind the earlier commotion. She asked about Ma Yingxiang's potential for reform, and the king's response brought her relief. As she looked at him, the king sighed, noting it was only their second calm conversation. The princess asked about his vivid memories, and the king replied that he remembered every moment and every word they spoke. The princess blushed at his words, and before the atmosphere could become more ambiguous, she excused herself to rest in her palace and tried to leave. However, the king stopped her and insisted that they should still put on a show tonight, as it was their wedding night after all. Seeing the king walk away, the princess quickly used a folding screen to block her path. She told him that she had no choice but to sleep in his palace tonight, but she reminded him not to cross this folding screen. The king smiled indulgently and replied, "Okay." That night, the king sat by the desk, reading, while the princess sat by the bedside, worried that the king wouldn't follow the rules in the middle of the night and would refuse to rest. However, the night breeze seems to have a hypnotic effect, and before long, the princess fell asleep in a daze. The king slowly approached and covered her with a blanket. Ma Yingxiang was about to be sent back to Daxia, but he couldn't bear to leave because there was a girl he loved in that Mashao palace. To help Ma Yingxiang get a chance to confess to Chuner, the princess suggested to the king they should hold a beach volleyball match before Ma Yingxiang left. The king didn't ask many questions and readily agreed to the princess' proposal. If you love the story, like and subscribe for the next episode.